Alrighty guys, it is Monday. We are here for a book club video. I know there hasn't been one, I want to say in a week or two. I apologize. March has been crazy. And here I am thinking, oh, like school will be over. Things will be great. But to be honest with you guys, my mental health kind of has taken a hit. It's definitely something I want to talk about with my therapist on Wednesday and my doctor on Tuesday, because I tried a new med and I don't think it's working for me. It's supposed to help like regulate my moods, and I literally like cried all day Thursday and Friday. So that's why I haven't had any videos for a little bit, but I promise we'll have some videos this week. I have some stuff right on the side of me that I'm going to film after this video. But right now we are doing the book club review for Never Lie. I know some of you have been waiting for this video, which is by Freida McFadden. She's one of my favorite like thriller authors. You won't see a video from Charmaine. She is having a rough month as well. She had a family emergency and now she's really sick. She thinks she might even have COVID. She's not sure at the moment. So it'll just be from me and we're combining it. It's going to be the review and the reveal. So you guys will have the review for Never Lie, and then I will reveal at the end the book that we will be reading for April, I guess, like a little bit of March and April. So number one was again, this is going to be filled with spoilers. So if you haven't watched read Never Lie, you may not want to watch this. Number one, Never Lie relies on Tricia. And if I say these names wrong, I'm sorry. But that is how I read them. Tricia and Ethan being snowed in by a blizzard. Can you think of any other situations that would have isolated them in a similar way? How much of the snowstorm and the cold add to the atmosphere for when you were reading? So I think any like natural disaster could have done it. But of course, because it's set in New York and New England, a snowstorm is like perfect. But I think, you know, a hurricane could have done it. A tornado warning could have done it. Like anything like natural disaster would have kind of forced them to stay in that house. I don't think anything else would have, honestly. And then can you think of any other situation? Oh, I said that. And then how much of the snowstorm and cold add to the atmosphere? It definitely did. You know, they talk about it a lot. Like she goes out on the porch for fresh air and her socks get soaked and she's worried she's going to get frostbite, and she's freezing with her coat on inside the house. So the husband has to figure out how to turn on the heat and all these things. And then she thinks somebody's living there. And when they find out somebody is there, he uses that like, oh, you know, I needed a place to stay. This house looked empty, or I thought the house was empty, so I stayed here. It definitely added to the book. It gave you like kind of that like scary feeling, like, oh, they're stuck there. Their BMW is covered with snow. They're like off the grid. There's no plows. There's no phone service. Like, so it definitely added to the story. Number two, were you surprised somebody was hiding out in the house? Who did you think it was going to be? I wasn't surprised. I had a feeling somebody was going to be hiding out in the house. I think it adds to that, like, the creepy element. You know, especially they saw the light on. There was food in the fridge. Like, it didn't make sense to me to not have somebody in the house. I honestly thought it might have been the doctor, Dr. Hale, or someone tied with her. Or, you know, it could have been her, could have been Luke, or it could have been Jameson, who is EG is what it's Ethan Jameson. Well, you find out afterwards, but they call him EG throughout the whole book. I was like, but why would the doctor hide out in her own house? Unless she was like trying to fake her own death. Like that was like things I was trying to think of. But I definitely knew there was somebody hiding out, and I figured along the lines of either the doctor or somebody connected to the doctor. Number three, the use of the patient session tapes as a found footage element. Did knowing that these tape recordings of patient sessions add a different dimension to the novel, to say finding a diary? Did you spot any clues in the choice of tapes that Tricia chose to listen to? So obviously, when you see the initials EG, and she keeps talking about how he has narcissistic personality disorder and how he doesn't have any family and things like that, or like his family passed away, she makes you think that it's Ethan, because his name starts with an E, and he also has parents that passed away, and he kind of has like a little bit of a narcissism personality as well. So you get really curious when you listen to these EG videotapes. I think it definitely added a different dimension to the novel than a diary, only because she kept recognizing voices, and she wouldn't have been able to do that, say, if it was like a diary entry. That's how she knew it was Luke that was hiding in the house, because she recognized the voice. So it definitely added like a whole different dimension to the novel. And any clues on the choice of tapes? Like I said, I think E.G., you're supposed to think it's Ethan the whole time. I knew it wasn't Ethan. I'm like, that's too obvious. We all know how Freida McFadden is. Ethan is not going to be E.G. He did end up being something, though, and I did not see that coming. So I didn't really spot any clues other than that. I figured whoever we were listening to those tapes, they were going to be prominent in the story. And GW ended up being a big part of the story that I didn't even realize. It was a patient of hers that was like paranoid, thinking people were coming after her. And then you find out that that's Ethan's mom. Not Ethan, yeah. And she wasn't paranoid because he did kill her. Crazy. Number 4. There's a strong misdirection pointing to Ethan being EJ. Did you have any other suspicions, right or wrong, as to identities of the other patients on the tapes? No, honestly, I had no idea who was on those tapes. I knew EJ wasn't going to be Ethan, but I knew they were obviously going to be prominent to the story, like I just said, but I was not sure who was on those tapes. I did not connect Trisha being the girl who survived that cabin stabbing. I did not make that connection whatsoever. She is such a good writer, honestly. Let's see. Number 5, early on, it seems to be setting up a classic isolated creepy house mystery. Were you surprised by the development into a darker history of murders thriller? I don't really know how to answer that one. Because I guess like usually it's like someone creepy is in the house, is the killer, but this was definitely very different because the person that was creeping in the house was actually an innocent good guy, and the people that invaded the house, which are usually the victims, were actually the assailants. They were actually the killers. So it was definitely like really different, really good. Not what I expected whatsoever. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I read the questions to you guys, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, I hadn't read the book yet. So I was kind of bummed because I was like, oh my God, one of the questions literally says Trisha is the killer. So I'm like, now I already know that she did it. Like, it's not going to be as good. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to like this book as much. And I kept not picking it up because I was like, I know I'm not going to like it. I don't want to bother. Guys, I read this book in one sitting. I started this book this morning around 10 in the morning, and I finished it today around 3. I read it in 5 hours. It was so good, I could not put it down. That just proves what an incredible author she is, because I already knew the killer, and I still was into this. I still wanted to read. There ended up being a million more twists and turns that I did not see coming. Like I said, I had no idea that the girl that survived the cabin stabbings actually killed the people in the cabin. I had no idea that she was Trisha. I had no idea that Ethan was Gail's mom. Like, it's so incredibly good. I went, what? Oh my God, like several times throughout reading this book, even with knowing some of the spoilers. That's how incredible Freida McFadden is, in my opinion. Number 6, were you surprised by the revelation in the final chapters that Ethan was responsible for his mother's death and that Trisha killed Dr. Hale? I was very surprised. I was kind of hoping Dr. Hale was going to be alive. And then I kind of hoped like Luke would be alive, and he was alive, but then I was kind of hoping he wasn't going to get killed. I was kind of hoping he was going to be out with them, or like be able to get them down and run away, but clearly that's not what happened. It's sad that the killers were made it out in the end and got this beautiful house and living their life with 2 kids with the white picket fence with the 1-year-old daughter and another kid on the way. But yeah, I was definitely 100% surprised. So Ethan was tied to those tapes, but he wasn't EJ. It was definitely very different. I did not think that he was responsible for his mother's death. I had no idea, like I said, that he was Gail's son. And I had no idea that Trisha killed the doctor. I had no idea she was the girl in the cabin. Like, and it blows my mind. I was texting a friend today who read this book, that Dr. Hale knew she was lying. So I think she was her therapist. I think it said 2 or 3 years, and she knew she was lying that whole time. And I wonder why she did it. Like, did she know she was going to need a favor from her one day? I don't think so. Was she scared to reveal the truth? Or is it because she wanted to make a book out of it? It really makes you wonder what the doctor's intentions are. And then it says, were you surprised when it was revealed that the doctor was dead and had been killed years earlier? I'm saying the doctor, Dr. Hill, because I really struggle saying her first name. The whole time I was saying Adrian, and I know it's not Adrian. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I was surprised. Like I said, I was kind of hoping she was the one in the house. I was kind of hoping she was alive, or either she was the one in the house or she got to run away and she just got kind of like faked her own death and is living a different life somewhere. But sadly, that was not the case. I had a feeling she wasn't the one in the house, like when they lifted that latch and there was like a secret hole in the ground. As soon as they said blue jeans, right away, I was like, that's not her, because Tricia literally went through her closet and said, wow, this woman doesn't even own a pair of jeans. So I knew it wasn't her. So I was like, it's either EJ or Luke. But then when you find Luke in the house, it kind of leaves it to being EJ. Yeah, so like I said, I knew Tricia was a killer, but I still did not put it all together, which is like I said, it shows what an incredible author she is. And then number 7, Tricia has a very strong ulterior motive, revealed with one of the biggest twists. How did you feel having your perception of the main character twisted from her presenting herself as a nervous wife to finding out she's a multiple killer? Was there anything in Tricia's character or behavior early on that made you suspect her true motives? Did you like Tricia in the beginning? Do you still like her as a character once the truth was uncovered? No, I did not expect that at all. I really thought she was like the timid little wife, and I did not think she was capable of all the things that she did. And then it's kind of crazy how like Dr. Hale even like talks more about her and it's like, oh, you know, her mom told me that her friends would have these magical injuries and like her pets would always pass away. And so you really like, wow, this girl is twisted, and she's been twisted since she was little. It wasn't just because her boyfriend cheated on her. Not that that's a good excuse to kill anybody, but I started long before that. I did like her in the beginning. I felt bad that she was like trapped in this house and that her husband didn't believe her when she was saying that somebody's in the house and that she was hearing things or seeing things. But then obviously, in my opinion, I did not like her once the truth was uncovered. I think if you like her, you might want to get yourself checked out, because I don't know. I just don't like people that kill people. So, you know, that's just me. And then number 8, what are your overall thoughts and feelings on the book? Did you realize the twist before the end? No, like I said, I knew she was a killer because of these questions. I read these questions to you guys right here, where you find out she went from a nervous wife to finding out she's a multiple killer. So I knew she was a killer, and I still did not piece this together. This was incredible. I have always said The Inmate was my favorite, and after The Inmate was The Boyfriend. But this is definitely my top 3, and I don't even know where to put it. I don't know if I want to put it as 1, 2, or 3. It's hard to really say which one is my favorite, because each one I read, I just love more and more. So I absolutely love this book. Even with knowing one of the spoilers, I still absolutely love this book. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend Freida McFadden. My mother-in-law started reading her because of me. My mom wants to start reading her because of me. People on my Instagram have like slid up and like, oh, what book do you recommend by her? People on my... I have a in-person book club now, like where I live, and them too. They were like, they love Freida McFadden. And I love that she's from my area. And actually, there's a scene in this book where they talk about Foxwoods Casino. And if you guys have been on this channel for a while, me and Joe went to Foxwoods Casino last summer for my birthday. So it's cool to like read it and like actually know what they're talking about. This one is set in New York, but most of hers are set in Boston, MA, because she's from Boston. But that is it. I did not realize the twist at the end. 5-star book for me. Seriously incredible. The next one is Cast. Excuse me. The next one is Cast the Characters. And I will say, for Luke, I kept imagining, what's his name? Luke from Gilmore Girls, which is Scott Patterson. But other than that, I didn't really think of anybody else while I was reading this. And I'm going to leave it at that, to be honest with you guys. It's Sunday night. I am tired. I'm trying to prioritize more of like my health and my sleep and all those things. So I hope you guys aren't mad at me for skipping that one. You guys cast the characters down in the comments if you have read this book. And this is actually going to be, I don't know if it's a Netflix movie or a Netflix series, but I remember I read an article and they interviewed Freida McFadden, and she talked about how The Housemaid was going to be a movie. And if you guys don't know, it's coming out on Christmas Day. I have her fan page on Facebook. It's literally it's called the Freida McFadden McFans, and she talks a lot about it over there. Like how excited she is to meet the actors, and I've seen like I saw the release date and all those things. But in that article that I read, she also said that Neverlie was picked up by Netflix. So I don't know if it's a series or a movie, but I'm really curious to see who they cast. I don't know if they've actually already casted anybody. Let me look it up really quickly. And then I will be revealing the next book for you guys. And it is kind of like another thriller. Neverlie. I'm going to do Netflix and see what comes up. Nothing's coming up. Oh. Yeah, the only thing that's on here is like people casting them. So it's not the actual cast, but it's people who like oh, okay. So for Tricia, Florence Hugh, I honestly only know her because she dated Zach Braff, and I love Zach Braff. For Ethan, Alex Pettifier, I don't even know who that is. Then, oh, okay, for the Doctor, Evan Rachel Wood, I could see that because she's listed as like a really pretty redhead. And then for Lucas, we have, for EJ, we have Lucas Till. I don't know who that is. And then their Luke is Andrew Garfield, which Luke's a good guy, so I'm just sad that he actually dies. But I love him. He was one of the, I was going to say one of the Peter Pans. Oh my God. One of the Spider-Mans. And then for Paige, which she's not even like that major of a character, but we have Candace King, who I think was she in Vampire Diaries? And if you haven't been on this website, you can actually like vote. So Florence Hugh won, but she went up against Elizabeth Lale and Daisy Edgar Jones, like, and then people like vote on who they think should be casted. So I'm curious to see the actual cast. That's like a fan casting. But yeah, I figured I would let you guys know. So keep an eye out for that if you want to watch a Netflix series. I don't know if it's going to be a series or a movie. I kind of hope it's going to be a series. I would love to see like the build-up of that. And I just got a text message. Oh, wait. Yeah, I think it's my brother saying, are you busy? Okay. So yeah, I will not be casting the characters. Like I said, if you read the book, you thought about specific people and actors, put it down in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought of the book. Answer any of these questions if you want to. Rate it 5 stars. Rate it in stars, whether you rate it 5 stars, 1 star, all those things. That is it for this video, guys. Be safe.